Good afternoon, students. I hope you all are doing well. This is after a long time I'm taking the classes of yours, and you all know the revised syllabus of your this unit test as well as for this session. The revised syllabus, go through it, and I have also sent the syllabus in your group. You can check it out, and if there is any kind of queries and questions, you can ask me. So the syllabus that has been revised in your the revised syllabus, in that syllabus the 7th chapter is, because I have completed up to chapter 7, so the 6th chapter is the management of support services, institutions and programs for children, youth and elderly. So in this chapter basically we are going to learn about the different institutions or support services or programs which are initiated for the groups like children, youth and elderly, and how to manage those particular groups. So we are going to learn about this, and the very basic things are that the programs which are initiated for them, we are going to know about those programs, how the programs are initiated, and why these children, youth and elderly, these groups are vulnerable. This are also we are going to cover in this chapter. Now, why children are vulnerable? Children are vulnerable because childhood is a period of rapid development in all domains, and development in one area influences development in all others. So in order for the children to grow optimally in all areas, it is important that the child's needs for food, shelter, healthcare, love, nurturance and stimulations be met in a holistic manner. Adverse experiences can have a lasting impact on the children's development. All children are vulnerable, but some are more vulnerable than others. So why are these children vulnerable? Because these children who are involved in studies, and also suppose the parents are always quarreling with them because they are not studying, or they are doing some other activities. So these are the children, these vulnerable children, who are living in such challenging conditions and difficult circumstances that their basic needs of food, health and care, nurturance are not met. So these kind of people you will see in some villages or in a poor area. You can see this kind of children who doesn't get those this proper health care, food care, maintenance or the nurturance of those. These are the qualities which they don't get. So this group of children, they are in a serious danger. So all the children in difficult circumstances need care and protection, but some may violate the law or may be involved in antisocial activities also. You have heard of the children being engaged in different kinds of activities, criminal activities, because they are being trained by the seniors or any kind of terrorists or criminals, and they are being taken into this path. So the Juvenile Justice Act 2000, this is properly made for the legal. This is the legal framework for juvenile justice in India. The act concerns itself two categories of children: those who are in conflict with law and those considered to be in need of care and protection. So this law basically conducts two kinds of activities. One, it handles the children in conflict with law and also in need of care and protection. So these are the things offered by this act. In other words, they are arrested by the police because they are committed or accused for the crime. So the children are also being accused for crime sometimes when they do some kind of wrong deeds. So the act is in compliance with the Child Right Convention, and the identified children in the need of care and protection are those. Suppose who needs this care and protection, these children are those who are without any home or settled place, or born or without any means of substances. So I'll show you the picture you can get from it. So here you can see the different kinds of the childs who need the different care and protection are those who are, so I first told you that who are without any home or settled place or abroad or without any means of substances. So this includes abandoned children, street children, runaway children, and missing children. So these children are also provided. They are provided by this health care, protection, food, nurturance by this act. Okay, and also those children who live in with a person who is unfit to exercise control over the child, and where there is a chance of child being killed, abused, or neglected by the person. So this kind of childs are also being taken care of by this act. So next, who are mentally or physically challenged, ill, or suffering from terminal illness or incurable diseases, and have no one who can support or look after them. So these peoples are also been guided by this act, provided different kinds of these facilities by this act. Now, who are abused, tortured, or exploited for purpose of sexual abuse and illegal acts. So the childs who are attached with different kinds of illegal acts or sexual abuse, so tortured or exploited, these children are also been involved in this act. And now, who are vulnerable to being inducted into drug abuse or trafficking. You see some children loitering around the whole street in some areas, but they are being involved in some kind of drug abuse or they are trafficking. So these children are also been taken by this act, and they are provided the necessary requirements. So who are victims of armed conflict, civil accommodation, or natural calamity, these peoples are also provided the facilities. Now the last one, who are likely to be abused for unconscionable gain. These include abandoned, orphaned, trafficked, minors rescued from red light area, child laborers rescued from factories, lost, runaways, special needs children, and children of prisoners. So now these peoples who are the children of the prisoners, or those who are supposed working in the red light area or the factories, the child labor system is applied to them. So these type of children are also being picked out from there, and they are being given the necessary facilities, and they are being taken care of by this act. So now we'll see the different kind of institutions, programs, and initiatives for the children. There are several programs and services operating in the country to meet the needs of the vulnerable children. Now here we shall briefly describe some significant initiatives and efforts in order to acquaint you with the various activities carried out by the government and non-government organizations. So now we know that there are not only the governmental organizations for these vulnerable children, there are also non-governmental organizations also for these children. So now the first one we have all read from the very beginning is the Integrated Child Development Services, that is the ICDS program. So what does this program provides? It is of course the government initiated by the government of the India. It is the world's largest early childhood programs which aims to meet the health, nutrition, stimulation and early learning and education needs for the children below the 6 years of age in an integrated manner so as to foster their development. So now the program offers health, nutrition and hygiene education to mothers, non-formal preschool education to children aged 3 to 6. So this ICDs programs, it is provided up to the age of 6 years of age, and supplementary feeding, that is for all children below the 6 years, and the pregnant mothers and the nursing mothers, growth in monitoring and basic healthcare services such as immunization, vitamin A supplements or any other vaccinations. These are provided by these ICDS centers. So now ICDS, we have known that these services are delivered in an integrated manner at the child care centers named Anganwadi centers. I think many of you have heard of these Anganwadi centers. So these Anganwadi centers, they provide these facilities, and these are the child care centers, or also named as Anganwadi centers. So the next one we'll read now. Now the next program is SOS Children's Village. So this is an independent non-governmental social organization which has pioneered a family approach to long-term care of the orphan and abandoned children. So you have to mention this when you are writing about this SOS Children's Village. So these are the non-governmental social organization which has pioneered, and it is only given care to the orphaned and abandoned children. So now this SOS Village have the visions of providing family-based long-term care to children who can no longer grow up with the with their biological families. So in the SOS home there's a mother who looks after 10 to 15 children. So a single mother is looks after almost 10 to 15 children. So not more than that, not less than that, and less can be happening, but not more than 15 children. So the unit lives like a family, and the children experiences relationship and love once again, which helps children to recover from the traumatic experience. Suppose the children have an accident and their mother and father, both parents have died. So these kind of children are taken to this SOS Children's Village. It is happening in a village. Then they are being given the necessary facilities by the mother under whom the children is now. So they grow up in a stable family environment and are supported individually until they become independent young adults. The SOS families live together, forming a supportive village environment. They are integrated with the local community and contribute to the social life. So this program, as you all can guess from here, this SOS Village, that it is a very renamed organization, non-governmental organization, and the village, that mother, she gains that relationship with the children. Suppose a mother, she acts with them, or the mother gives the nurturance to those children who are particularly with that mother, and there's a family environment creates, and the children are also totally dependent on this mother, and thus they becomes free from the traumatic environment or the traumatic tensions or experiences, and until they are young adults. So they are supposed to be having the mothers, they have to guide these children until they become the young adults. So okay, we have read up to this only today, and next day we are going to continue with the next program, that is the child homes runs by the government for children of 3 to 18 years of age who are in stable custody for various reasons. So we are going to continue from this. Till then, I think the next you will be having your unit test. All the best for your unit test. So okay, bye.